tall order to be totally responsible for diversifying the education sector. The National Black Governors Network was created in 2017, so it was way before the events of last summer that has almost like got everybody excited about being more diverse or about embracing diversity. And I mainly created it because I just got tired of being the only Black person in a room, whether it was a small meeting room or a large conference of 400 or 500 people. And I also got tired of people saying to me, when I sort of questioned them about diversity of race, saying to me, oh, Sharon, it's really hard to find Black people. I go, really? You know, firstly, Black people are not lost. You've just got to approach us differently because we bring our difference to make a difference. And as of today, the organisation has worked with almost 100 organisations in the sector, and we've delivered training to more than 4,000 trustees, governors and senior leaders in both schools and colleges, as well as some other sectors as well. But the reality is that we can't undo 400 years of inequality. We can't do that in 12 months. I doubt we'd even do it in 12 years. But what we can do is actually start the journey so that our children's children benefit from what we all want, which is a truly diverse world. But it's also important to understand that the education sector is not alone in this journey. All sectors are experiencing the same lack of diversity at the top. But the reality is that every profession passes through the education system because our children are educated there. So it's important that we realise that diversity is definitely a top-down matter and not just a bottom-up one for the sector. Whatever space I'm in, especially as a trainer, I always suspend political correctness when questions and comments are directed at me, and I do that on a personal basis, because what I find is that this sort of breaks down any barriers and allows those who want to ask questions to do it without worrying about, oh, can I use the term Black, or is it BAME, or the most recent one I've seen is UKME. You know, whatever the jargon or the terminology is, for me, it's about just ask the question. So if I, as a British-born Black woman, can do that, then the very least that others can do is be honest and transparent about where we are. Be honest about that and how we got here, accepting that, and understanding that we need to start there in order to truly move the dial in terms of equality and equity. No one alive today created the system under which we all operate, but we have to acknowledge that the system does discriminate against those from diverse backgrounds. And so we have to be open and transparent in what we need to do in order to move forward. Well, first of all, we have to be prepared to do the work, and that's all of us. We have to be prepared. Most people will say, yes, we want change, but they're not prepared to do the work associated with that change. And my advice, based on a lot of the work that I'm doing, would be for organisations to take a look at the Race Equality Code, which was created last year and launched as a pilot in October 2020, so Black History Month last year. And for the last year, the creator of that code, Dr. Carl George, who I work closely with, has worked with a number of organisations to develop that code into what it is today. And it's actually being launched this evening. You know, and Doreen Lawrence and Anton Ferdinand and that have been involved in it as well. And what that code does is that it allows organisations to take a real look at where they are and to work towards an action plan. So there are 10 musts. If an organisation says that they want to move the dial and become anti-racist, then there are 10 things an organisation must do, and those are listed in the actual code. And then there's another 45 shoulds and coulds of what organisations could do or what they should be doing in order to move forward. And another thing that we can stop doing is stop pouncing on every Black person alive to say, what should we do about race? Because not everybody wants to talk about it, and some things can be triggering to individuals. So if they're not, my advice is to approach people who are trained in the area of diversity, and those that you're going to pay properly to do the work, and make sure that it's a long-lasting process rather than looking for quick wins, because quick wins are just not sustainable. Well, the Unstoppable Women Leaders Conference was something that I did 2016, I think it was, and it was for International Women's Day. And so before we all got used to Zoom and everything, I put on this event that had, I think it was 18,000 people, across the globe, pulling speakers in from all walks of life. And it was amazing, and an amazing experience. But as a female, born Black, those are two factors that drive me in terms of equality and representation. And when I did my dissertation for my degree in leadership in 2014, I chose to focus on Black women leaders in the UK. And it was during my research that I found that there's very little information available, positive information available about Black women leaders in the UK, and B, that it would take 70 years, according to the Lord Davis report, 70 years for there to be gender equality in British boardrooms. That's like ridiculous. And I know that the stats have changed since then, but it's nowhere near where it should be. So I'm driven by the need to be the best that I can be in whatever I do, but I'm not fighting for gender equality. I'm simply showing organisations and boards that their failure to proactively include women and people of colour is actively excluding them, and that they're doing a disservice to themselves and to their stakeholders. And when you begin to understand that Gen Z, Generation Z, is the most racially diverse generation ever currently, and Gen Alpha are currently in secondary schools, and Gen Alpha is the digital age, then times and organisations are changing. And so those organisations that don't change, they will simply be left behind. Oh, I like this one. I don't overthink things, because if you overthink something, you can literally think yourself out of a great idea. So I allow the research to dictate whether I should continue with something or not. I learned a long time ago that talk is cheap and action will always win through. So my top tips would be, first of all, you have to conceive your goal. Think about what you want to do and how you're going to do it. And then you've got to believe it. You have to believe in yourself and in the purpose or the journey that you're on. Not least because you will get challenges along the way, and you can tweak and change your goals, but make sure that you continue to believe in it. Achieving it is next, and this could be small wins. Sometimes it is just the small wins that allow us to keep going, and ultimately we will get successful. And then when it comes to that time, receive it, whatever it is. So it could be the recognition for a job well done, or rewards in the form of money or a new job, but you have to receive it unapologetically.